Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike McKenzie here. Just wanted to give you a brief introduction to myself and to the PE1 class that your son or daughter is in this quarter with me. So, this is my wife, Jamie, and my two daughters, Avery and Kendall. Avery's starting here as a ninth grader this year, too. So, on a little bit of an adventure there. Kendall's in fifth grade at Olander. I've been teaching at Rocky for 12, 13 years now. Started off my first 4 years at Olander Elementary as their PE teacher too. So I think this is my 17th year in Poudre School District, and I came out to CSU from Miami, Florida, played football for Sonny Lubick at CSU, and so that really kind of sports in general and the coaches that I had really kind of changed and altered kind of the trajectory of my life. So that's kind of where I've landed with what I'm doing. PE1 class, separate of that, I guess, where we were, or what we were trying to create is a class where the kids could have a little bit of choice in what they have to do each day. So rather than come in and have it be themes like basketball the whole week or dance the whole week or whatever we might choose, we wanted to kind of design the class so that it was structured almost the way like a health club would be. We went and observed this at another school here in the state of Colorado, and we liked what we saw. We liked the level of engagement we saw with the kids. So we talked to the kids this way too, and just say, the choice seemed to be a big motivating factor when we first created and brought it here and observed it. It was a lot better use, we thought, of the pre-assessment. So when we took the kids through the PACER, what we started to do with that was judge the amount of cardio days that we wanted to see the kids do throughout the week based on what their numbers were. And then we have them wear heart rate monitors for this class too. So we've already kind of hinted at the idea that what their pre-score in the PACER is on the running might indicate how many days they would wear heart rate monitors and have their class assessed like that. And obviously if they run the higher amounts, we'd probably give them a little bit of a break on that. So it really gave a lot of credibility to doing your best on the PACER, which we liked. And then overall, it just helped us kind of really narrow the focus more on fitness and stuff too. When I was growing up, and probably most of you as parents, physical education was probably more just for the jocks and stuff like that too. And so that's changed quite a bit in the last decade or two, and there's a lot bigger focus on the movement rather than any type of sports proficiency at it. So we tell the kids typically this might be a sampling of what would be offered throughout the quarter, and as we start to build the class, they'll receive cards that'll look something like this. And then if we can get our A game together and really schedule it out for like a month in advance, they would see what their choices would be for quite a ways out. And so what we ask them to do in the beginning of the week is plan their week out so that they are meeting all the requirements. If they ran at a certain number on the PACER and need a certain amount of cardio days, we make them, select that at the beginning of the week and make sure they're in things that are going to be cardio in nature. And then a lot of times we'll go through and you can kind of see the psychomotor points would just be their overall participation, 5 days at 5 points a day, 25 points. And then the variety points would just be, when we ask them to try and mix up what they do in the week, because we know it's better for overall health if we're not doing the same thing every single day. So we'll put some points on a week-to-week basis, looking to see if they're mixing it up and doing not just ball sports, but also doing like a yoga day or doing a weightlifting day type of thing too. Okay, so that's the gist of that. This document, I believe, is up on our Google Classroom, so you can look through it a little bit more. We've recorded over time some of the feedback we've taken from kids in terms of pros and cons, and overwhelmingly it seems like it's been something that the kids have enjoyed. The blue was them as well on that too. The black was us as teachers sitting down and just kind of giving our 2 cents on it afterwards too. So anyway, it's kind of an interesting way to do physical education. It's not something we can start the quarter off right away. We're still just getting to know the kids' names right now, finishing up fitness testing from a preliminary standpoint, doing a lot of team building games, setting our classroom routines in. I would suspect that maybe by the end of this week too, we'll probably be practicing making choices off of cards, potentially already, and then probably get going next week on that piece of it. So just so you have an idea of the class and its structure, that's kind of how we set it up. A couple things for you to know if you're not on Google Classroom. The syllabus has the code on it right here, so as you're looking at this presentation, you can always get on your students' Google Classroom and add that in and become part of the class there. I'm team teaching the class. This is how we give more of the choices, is we call it clearing the deck, so we don't schedule any other PE classes really that hour, and we combine the PE1 classes, and then between the two PE teachers we can offer a couple of different things each in multiple different gyms and stuff too that we can kind of go back and forth and monitor. So Mr. Underwood's stuff is on there too, so if the kids ever need him, they can reach out to him. But really, if your kid's on my roster, we should always be probably the point of contact. Okay. So you can look through all of this stuff. I would say the big things in terms of expectation is just that they show up and do their best. We've talked to them about dress code. We're really kind of moving further and further away from like a strict dress out policy anymore in PE. I always tell the kids if they can move and exercise and whatever it is they show up in, I'm not going to bug them about it. But if it appears like they can't move very well, and that's where it's going to be a little bit of an issue. Probably out of the teacher expectations, probably the two to highlight the best, just so you guys know and you're on the same page with me, is I'll always try and come into Fridays as up to date as possible, and that's really what I need to commit to, so that when your kid gets home on Friday afternoon, and if you want to look at parent view, you should be able to see a grade that's up to date by then. So that's a big thing of mine. And then in class, I'll go by a 3-strike policy. So I'll give a warning and talk to him or her, and give another warning and talk to him or her. But then by that third time, I'm gonna remove them from the class and have them doing an admin. And then I just tell the kids we'll start new the next day. Some days just have bad days. What else? Locker rooms, because of the dress out piece of it. All we're gonna do, I guess, is when the bell rings, and this is gonna start today with PE1 Monday. When the bell rings at, I guess third period starts at 12:57. The kids know they have an automatic 7 minutes built into the front end of the class. Plus they have lunch, so they have some time if they want to do some of this over lunch too. But basically, they won't be late at 12:57 when the bell rings. They'd be late at 1:04 because we're going to give them 7 minutes to get into whatever they want to get into, dress-wise, to be able to do class. And again, our thinking there with giving the 7 minutes is that can give a kid time to be in the locker rooms. It can give a kid time to go to the bathrooms in the hallway and use the stall. But I think a lot of kids coming down into our area can be a little bit intimidated by using locker rooms. So we just wanted to make a policy where it gives them the flexibility to go and do what they need to do to get ready for class. Okay. The rest of this is stuff you can read through if you would care to, but I guess maybe the next biggest thing would be just grading and make up some of the stuff at the bottom of the syllabus. I just try and go really old school for PE. I try and put a 100-point bank in. That's what you've seen if you've looked up right now. Everybody's got an A. There's been no deductions made really through week one. We got a lot of kids that don't even know where they're supposed to be. So it's a hard one to assess on week one unless a kid just doesn't completely show up, and then we're kind of following up on that. But I treat each day like it's a 5-point day. So if you have a great day, it's 5 out of 5. And then, there'd be any deductions for anything otherwise. A total absence would be a 0 out of 5. And so as you see that point bank coming down, that just means the kids had absences. And it really doesn't matter if they decide to skip a class or if you pull them for like an orthodontist appointment. I still count it as a miss. I'll still have them do makeup. So that's kind of a take as you go. Any assignments we do, that'll kind of be a put in as we go. And there's not going to be very many. I've told the kids we might do a total of 5 or 6 throughout the quarter, every other week, about the 9-week quarter. The one thing you'll see in there is steady weekly points will be the cards, the log sheets. So if they're filling those out and making their choices on there, and for some other things that will then log when it comes to muscular strength and muscular endurance, that will almost be like just a check sheet for us to see that they did the work on. So there'll be some assignment points for those too. And then the affect is a deduct as we go to. I'm just going to put that in. It's already in there as a 10-point. And that's really if there's a lot of those 3 strike things going on, if I'm having to remove a kid from class, if anything behaviorally is to a point where it's affecting our class that way, that's where those points will come out of. Yep. And then in terms of makeup, attendance and makeup, if you do miss that first time, I just tell the kids it's on me. I'll probably miss one time this quarter, and I'll go fly fishing or something like that to get my head on straight when I'm stressed out or whatever. So I won't deduct any points that way. I'll start deductions after that when they're missing. And then our admin has asked us for this policy, right? So if they've missed between 3 and 5, we'll be giving you a call home. And if they've missed between 6 and 8, we'll continue those phone calls, but then I've got to refer them down to the front office on a piece of it. Okay. If they know they're going to miss ahead of time, they can do makeup before they miss, or sometime afterwards they can come in during student support time on 9 to 9:30 on Wednesday morning. They can come find me at lunch. I'm here at about 8 a.m. It's tougher after school because I'm coaching football right now. Anytime they want to find me, they can find me, and to make up a day, I just have them run a set amount on the pacer or a set amount on bleachers, depending on the weather and what they want to do. Okay. I'll always work with them. I'll give them full points back if they do those makeups. It doesn't matter if they're excused or not excused, all that kind of stuff. And then the last thing up here is if your son or daughter is involved in any type of club, sport activity where they're going to miss based on it. If there's anything that comes across in the computer as school excused, I don't deduct a point from it, guys. I think that's kind of cool that kids go off and do what they do for representing Aki that way. So that's it. Again, you can look through what all the choices on there would be. A lot of them are kind of regular choices anyway. I just think it lets the kids choose what they would enjoy the most that day. So that's kind of the uniqueness of the class, I guess. If you've got any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to answer questions. I'm here. Looking forward to teaching this class. And that's it. Okay, have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.